Hey you guys, thanks for stopping by. If you're new to my channel, my name is Ema and I want you to like, subscribe, and share. Today I'm gonna give you a few tips on what to do if you wanna have a baby after having a preemie. So for me, I gave birth to my first son, Jackson, at 22 weeks, 6 days, and I went on to have a successful, beautiful pregnancy and delivery, a full-term baby girl. The first thing I did was I found a new OB in our new city that we were in. We had a consultation, discussed my history, had my files from my previous pregnancy sent over to her so that she could see a full scope of my last pregnancy. And then we discussed a plan for me to carry full term. That was very, very important to me. My OB was very much into being proactive and not reactive. What does it mean to be proactive? What does it mean to be reactive? Well, proactive means that we're going to do everything in our power to prevent you from going into preterm labor, whatever that looks like, whether it's oral medication, vaginal medication, shots, bed rest, whatever it is for your situation. That's what it means to be proactive and come up with a preventative plan. Reactive is really not having a plan and just kind of going with the flow. And then if something comes up, it's like, oh my gosh, we have to give you magnesium, we have to give you steroids, we have to do this, do that. And it's kind of like scurrying around to keep you pregnant. I don't really like that approach. And I could say that I don't like that approach because that's what happened when I went into preterm labor with my son. There was no previous indicators. Obviously he was it was my first time being pregnant with him. So it was kind of a trial and error thing, but being that I knew what I went through already, I was like, I don't want to go through that again. I don't want to just, happenstance to go into preterm labor and not have a plan and everyone's rushing around and trying to keep me pregnant. No. That is, I don't advise that, especially if this is gonna be like your second or third or fourth or fifth pregnancy. I don't suggest just having a reactive plan. I suggest having a preventative and being proactive. So for me, that looked like taking oral progesterone from week 6 to week 12. And then I had a break in between there. And from week 16 to week 36, I took McKenna shots. I started out with the McKenna shots in the back of my arms. It's an auto injector, which was given to me by my OB's office every week from 16 to 36 weeks. And it hurt, okay? Midway through that time, there was an issue with getting the medication as the auto injector McKenna shots, and I had to switch to getting the original shot. It was not an auto injector. The needle was about 5 inches long, and they inserted it into the back of my buttocks every week, and it hurt. But again, I wanted to do anything to prevent myself from going into preterm labor. Some women that I do know get cerclages, some women get or have to do bed rest. And for me, a cerclage was not, it wasn't gonna be helpful in my situation because I did not go into spontaneous labor. When you go into spontaneous labor, that's called having an incompetent cervix or IC. And that was not my story. For me, with Jackson, I went into preterm labor due to an infection in my, a uterine infection. So I had a UTI, and that caused my cervix to start dilating. It got irritated. The antibiotics were not working. And when we tried to, catch the infection, it was just way too late. So that started my preterm labor. And I tell women this all the time, like, talk to your doctor about what preventative measure will work for you. I can only give you what worked for me. And, when I went to my doctor, I was like, oh, so I'm going to get a cerclage and da-da-da-da-da. And she's like, no, based on your history, a cerclage is not going to help you, because you did not go into spontaneous labor. So for me, it was only recommended to do McKenna shots and the oral progesterone in the beginning. And I had to be watched like a hawk. So I, in addition to getting the weekly shots, I was also getting sonograms every 2 weeks, and I was seeing my OB every 2 weeks just to go over everything. And you know, I was getting measured and checked, and she really, really cared for me and really wanted to make sure that my dream came true, to have a healthy pregnancy. That's what I wanted, you know, because I knew going into it that this would potentially be my husband and I's last pregnancy, because we're like, we will have 2 kids. We're not doing this again. You know, from having a preemie, we had a miscarriage in between. I was really sick with both pregnancies. Actually, I developed HG, and it was just like, it's a lot. You know, my body goes through a lot being pregnant. So for us, we were like, okay, this is gonna be our grand finale baby. So with that, I wanted to carry her full term and just her be healthy and not have any complications or anything like that. So my suggestion again is talk to your OB, express your desire to carry full term, and see whatever you have to do to be able to make that a possibility. I also did get steroid shots at around, I think it was at 24 weeks, just in case my baby girl Cameron wanted to come early, which she didn't, praise the Lord. And so at 36 weeks, we stopped all intervention. I think I had my last OB appointment, and I ended up giving birth to her via scheduled C-section. And it was an amazing experience, let me tell you, because when you've had an emergency C-section and it's chaos and confusion and just anxiety and emotions and people running around and signing paperwork, and you know, it was just crazy with Jackson, okay? I can so appreciate having a scheduled birth in a controlled environment. It was just everything that I prayed for, that I wanted. It was so relaxing and so calm, and everyone was just kind of like dancing, you know, not dancing literally, but just kind of flowing through. And it was just amazing and beautiful. So she was born weighing 6 pounds, 4 ounces, and 19 inches long. And it was just amazing to be able to leave the hospital, meet my husband and Cameron, and go home to Jackson, who was there with my mom, who had flew in from out of town to take care of him while I gave birth. And it was worth it. It was worth every doctor's appointment, every shot, every pill that I had to take, all the hyperemesis that I went through, and urgent care, you know, visits that I had to go through because I was so sick for the first almost 2 trimesters. It was worth it. You know, I encourage women to step out on faith. Even if you're scared, do it scared. Like, don't let fear keep you from what you want. If you want to have another baby, go for it. But I just say, use wisdom. Do your research. Talk to other moms who have, you know, given birth prematurely and gone on to have full-term babies. Talk to your doctor. Just go for it. Don't let fear hold you back and thinking like, oh my gosh, if I get pregnant again, I'm for sure gonna have another preemie. Obviously the risks are higher because that's just the way it is, but it doesn't have to end the same way that it began. It doesn't have to end the same way that it was the first time. So that's my message for you, is just don't be scared. And if you are scared, just do it anyway. Step out on faith. Use wisdom, guard yourself with knowledge, and just go for it. That's the best advice I can give you.